know that Disney owned Power Rangers, and there's a lot of shows they like that use Power Rangers, but we're going to talk about one of their original Power Ranger like shows, one of the closest Power Ranger shows towards the end of when Disney had the rights. Today on Hobby Talk Anime, we're going to talk about one of my personal favorite Disney XD shows, and the first Disney XD show, Aaron Stone. Hey everyone, Cody coming time for another Hobby Toku anime. Today we're going to talk about a not really Toku show, but it is Toku kinda because of it's written by people who did Power Rangers, and that's sort of Toku. So yeah, we're going to talk about one of my favorite underrated Disney shows, Aaron Stone. Yep, a show that I love. Didn't do it for a few years because years ago I wanted to do episode. I went to episode 8, but now we're going to do the whole series, including episodes 1 through 8 in the first part of this video. So this is just a recap. So if you saw my old videos, you know what happens. But now we're just updating it to make it more streamlined. And plus the episode that I didn't do. Got that? Good. Let's begin with episode 1 and 2, Hero Risings parts 1 and 2. Okay, we begin the series with some guy, which has nothing to do with plot, battling a person named Souljacker. And you see a game called Hero Rising, which is basically tagline, it's not a game. Until we see a picture of, of of Souljacker, basically. Souljacker beats the random guy, speaks to the, you lose, Mr. Hall. And it's like, we see Hall looking for detail, being mysterious and shadow. And for me, the show, yeah, Hall's not my least favorite part of the show. It's how long they go on. Like, that's the problem with the show, is it goes on with no good continuity changes. But at the start, there is good continuity changes. But by after a rest of the series has not really any new changes except for the bare bones every few episodes. But anyhow, that's just a problem nitpick. We get introduced to Stan, and Stan go find Aaron Stone, and now we see a basketball game with freaking a character named our protagonist, Charlie Landers, playing basketball and missing a goal. And whoa, 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 you got one shot. Then we start with the theme song, which is like the worstest part of the show is the theme song. In my opinion, the theme song is like the weakest part of the show. Oh God. So Hawaiian surfer music playing with a guitar riff is kind of generic, but not okay. But yeah, after that, he plays Game Hero Rising while Fake Out being at a party plays Hero Rising. We introduce Emma, who's going to be a character we're going to talk about later, but anyhow, because of twists. But anyhow, do that. We introduce Boston Rom while he plays Hero Rising, and yes, Charlie's character is our title character, Aaron Stone. And we meet Vesuvius and Lotus, or Boston Rom later on. But anyhow, points is they do a joke about sucking at it and not understanding things are getting stronger depending on the level. Yeah, good MMO BS. Yeah, the base that Aaron mom, who basically with his brother Jason, who's our character I wish more important, but anyhow, that's for later. But anyhow, point is, in this episode, there's like a dentist plot. He does the dentist. Next day, we introduce Emma, which Emma's like introducing Charlie about joking about football, missing the shot, and next part of it is basically Emma's like, I miss your you. Oh yeah, your dad's been missing. That's like a joke plot point. But anyhow, that next part is basically Aaron, uh, Charlie chases Stan chases Aaron, not knowing. Next part is he tells and everyone doesn't believe him about it. Plays Hero Rising. Then the weird thing is Stan appears in the garbage, not in the garbage, but like outside, saying, "We need you, Aaron Stone," and that's Deuce the Hall. And now basically they do stuff. They explain Hero Rising being a real thing, which, yeah, that and why Stan is really Stan. Yep, he's an android. Sorry, that was a cutaway. And does the famous I dislocate my head. And it's weird because this is like the trinity of losing your heads in Disney shows. This before with Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, and later on with Kim Possible. But the Kim Possible one is from the live action movie from many years in the future later. But anyhow, point is, this effect is kind of funny. A reveal where he's like, hello. Like, I can hear my head whistling. God, it is like pretty funny. And he reached out. Episode 2 is basically second Foss seeing uh, Souljacker. They battle. They try to battle with the suit, and yes, the suit is kind of black, which is kind of the lame part of the show. Is all the outfits are black and generic, so yeah, weak part. But basically that with the gauntlet, and now I can go on to explain of some of the items. Aaron's X5 runners, jumping abilities, and great. His grappling gauntlet that can grapple and shoot beams of light, mostly laser blast lights, if that makes any sense. For now, this is all the weaponry for the first episode. Basically, this episode fails, doesn't want to do it again, has second chance, does it, do it, stops Souljacker plans, and now he's a hero. That's our to begin. Episode 3. Basically, episode 3 introduces to uh, a, our second Mega Fan member. And yes, our first member was uh, Necros, basically our main leader of the faction. But now we get into our cyborg member, which, forget it, in this episode he uses General Cyborg. Basically, this random plot point is a problem with the show where a lot of the plot points are just episode play game of the game plot point become an important plot point in the episode. That sort of pattern is kind of weak. How, but it's okay with the show, yeah. Basically, this episode, he dates a woman as a B plot with talk about leggings, a comic called Lost Fighter. Yes, a Street Fighter joke. Hadouken! Sorry. But basically, do that. Filler episode, Trojan Horse, Aaron Saves Hall. Really good episode. Next up is episode 4. Episode 4 introduces us to Cronus, which are basically the time member expert of the Omega Defiance. And our first time Aaron encounters one of the 7. Basically, he grabs a pen, he loses it. The villain loses it, which is kind of funny. And for this episode, mostly stop time jokes. This episode's great, really good, really funny, really good of a filler. Next up is episode 5. This episode's also the debut of Boss and Ron being now main character worthy. Last episode was basically about Aaron now losing his football team, basketball team privileges, which is like a plot point, but doesn't go anywhere. But anyhow, that Boss and Ron show up with a band, like with a band supply with its random people. Random people band, good with a insert song I don't know your name, which is used at the end of the episode as a good victory montage with a Mass and Onion joke, which I'm betting is a Red Hot Chili Peppers reference. But who cares? But anyhow, that they do that. Into Boss and Ron being Indian. Yes, they're Indian, which you saw in previous episodes. But now we learned they're more advanced and more like they can disable stuff because they broke the biggest bank in India, which is kind of ballsy, but great episode. Aaron admits the truth of his identity, and they're like, yeah, I think they're just doing a joke, and they try to say, but the bomb's not defused. Oh crap! I have to go now to grab, and it's the saddest scene where Stan learns headbanging as like a joke, and being a machine, he's like doing it as a joke. It's a really funny episode, really good, really funny, good, important. Next up is episode 9. This episode's also forgot to mention Jason's character is Terminus Meg, which is there's a joke where Aaron is the best while uh, Jason is the worst. In this scene, it's basically Jason sucking at with them fighting, and it's like defuse a bomb, and Jason doesn't get into the blast and gets blown up. That's funny. Also, the B plot is basically Aaron goes to uh, detention, which is kind of funny, but turns out that's a plot point where the villain Zero, which is basically our little kid general who's mostly the same age as Aaron, but anyhow, this episode's great. I feel like the biggest problem with the show is them not explaining how some intelligence wise if the people don't know Hero Rising, but anyhow, that basically this is great. They do this. Sarah Bell is also the female member from episode 5, yes, which had a theory about this, and Silverstone from Famous Chef Jack and being in the same universe. But that's just a fan theory. A theory that I love the copyright now that he's leaving. Sorry, that was a joke. But anyhow, the point is, this is actually the episode 6 is basically the episode where Emma figured out the identity as like a joke where Aaron explains it. And it's like, hello, he found out. And now let's conclude this with episodes 7 and 8, Not So Friendly Skies Part 2, or the only other two-parter in Season 1. Let's begin. Basically, this episode is about Aaron being Aaron faking being sick so he can go to a concert with Boss and Rom, and Aaron doesn't explain the identity about Rom being Indian because secret identity rules. Got that? Basically, Aaron lies to Stan about being a threat, but really a minor threat, but really it ain't a threat as a scam that gets shot down by Helix, which is another member of the Omega Defiance. And our last member, besides one other member who has nothing to do with it, but anyhow, Helix's whole skit is he's genetically altered humans with animal DNA, which is like his evil about to do that. They battle a bunch of beasts, of and tigers or animals based that. Also, Aaron loses a solar burst, which really is the only like a distraction weapon where it's like a flare dissolver. But basically, that we discover Emma is secretly being tech geek. But anyhow, basically they get captured. Part 2. In part 2, basically Emma goes save Aaron, but we still don't know things about like he discovered Boss and Rom's identities, full names, as like the only time they say it as like figuring out. They go, Aaron saves it. Emma saves Aaron by using a gun that looks like the gun from Kamen Rider 5. Yes, that gun is used in this series as a shotgun, which is kind of funny. But anyhow, do that. They interrogate Aaron. They didn't get any information, but they do Stan. Stan turns into a box for a joke of, let me turn into a box to transform as a lockdown protocol loophole joke. So that, they tried to escape. Emma shows up with a gun, and we introduce Dark Tamara, our female main ally, and our gadget expert who gives Aaron his gadget from now on and input into the plot. They go get back. Stan gets in trouble. Next scene is Hal's like, we don't need Stan. He's just a machine sort of subplot. And Aaron's like, saves him. And it's like, you failed a duty by lying to us. And it's like, next time, fine. And as hang-ups with Hal and Aaron starting to begin. Also, this episode ends with a joke where it's like the grounding is like a joke. Oh, God, sorry. But yeah, that's the first 8 episodes. Not really good. Okay, but it's still a good show. Has just a rough start. And next time, we'll see a little more of the rough start, plus details, when we get into episode parts 9 through 21 of Season 1. And that's it for Season 1, just to know. This is saying bye-bye for now.